What's up? This is my video response to Hannah's Debate 4, stating that the United States was incorrect in dropping the atomic bombs on Japan in 1945. I'm going to take that opposite opinion, opposite approach, that we were most definitely justified in dropping the atomic bombs. Most of our argument rotates around um, the precedent that we set of using those bombs on later history, and then, of course, on the moral implications of dropping an atomic weapon on a city, especially one that had a large civilian population. Um, First off, I'd like to state that the Japanese most definitely would not have surrendered within a short period if we did not drop those bombs. Most definitely. The firebombing of Japan, or of Tokyo, lasted about 3-4 years and caused even less casualties than Hiroshima. Conventional bombing does not have the same effect as a nuclear weapon or atomic weapon. Um, the whole idea of shock and awe and overwhelming destruction was one of the leading factors in eliciting a surrender from them, because they saw that one single bomb, one single plane could completely annihilate a city. The Japanese were ferocious in World War II. As a history major and someone who focuses on the early 20th century wars, especially the Second World War, the Japanese had this hybrid type of warrior mentality that combined modern soldiering and drilling with Bushido code. So they were extremely ferocious and would never surrender. It took a lot to surrender because that was national humiliation to them in their eyes. So stating that they would surrender very quickly with a blockade or even just the threat of Russia is quite false. There is Operation Overlord, which was created by Operation Downfall. My apologies. Overlord was D-Day. Both invasions. Operation Downfall was a planned operation of the United States invading the Japanese homeland. The estimates for that were up to 10 million casualties, soldiers and civilians, because of how ferocious and how desperate the Japanese population would be in defending their home island. Currently, all of the Purple Hearts that we have given out through Korea, Vietnam, and even up to today in the Middle Eastern wars, they were all made in preparation for that invasion. That invasion, those Purple Hearts, we were expecting that many American casualties, and it would have been 10 times as many Japanese casualties. I believe that surrender would not have come for at least 2 to 3 years after a somewhat successful invasion of Japan. On the second point of nuclear proliferation and the kind of nuclear arms race, I believe that actually dropping the bombs showed the world what they did. They showed the world how terrible these bombs really are. And that led to no more actual nuclear attacks. Because if no one dropped a bomb, there was going to be a bomb dropped eventually. Whether it was the Soviet Union or China or some other nuclear power, those weapons were going to be used. So we took the initiative and used them to end the largest conflict in history. And about 200,000 casualties, military and civilian, over near 10 million casualties, which would have resulted in a large-scale invasion of the Japanese homeland. I believe that the nuclear arms race, of course, was put in motion by our use of those weapons, but those weapons were going to be used at some point in time. The Germans, just before they fell, were months away from a nuclear weapon. The Russians were experimenting with atomic power and weapons of mass destruction. So we did set the precedent. But at the same time, there has not been a nuclear attack since those attacks. So hopefully that remains the case because the world saw, because of those attacks, the terrible effects of those weapons. Of course, it is a shame and horrible that many people died, but on the other hand, it could have been a lot worse. It could have prolonged this terrible war, and more importantly, it would have led to the deaths of tens of millions.